Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. Tomorrow could be a historical day for Palantir Technologies if we have the combination of many events that do come together. PLTR is sitting at an attractive price right now that could be setting new 52-week year-to-date highs for 2024. We're going to be getting into all the news here. Make sure you stay in because we're going to be doing a deep dive analysis. If you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. So what do we have going on with Palantir? Number one is a very, very healthy reversal that you can see here that has been set up ever since this reversal and the swing at the low, this 2250. You see Palantir right now, we'll get more into the price action here in a second, but at this year to date, resistance points at about the 25s. Closing with the 25, I think was incredibly important for Palantir, especially with some of the catalysts that we do having. Now, one of the biggest rumors for PLTR for tomorrow is the actual 2024 index rebalance calendar. Take a look down here. The S&P 500. We talk about this all the time. When is S&P 500 inclusion happening? We don't know for sure. But however, there is an actual quarterly review tomorrow with an announcement tomorrow and a rebalance being on March 15th. Now, what this committee does is getting all together here, choosing which stocks to leave the S&P 500 and which ones to come in. Palantir has been on the headlines and has met the criteria for S&P 500 inclusion. If this does get announced, I think we could see a blow off top because the cohesion with the actual stock market rally today, we have the PCS index that came in and actually met expectations of the Wall Street analyst. And this is really great because both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, they've had their best February since 2015. And we talked about this PCE data. What this is the personal consumption expenditure, which the Fed uses as a major gauge for the actual distribution and the changes of interest rates in the future. Now, what we actually had in terms of numbers is that this caused a large buying pressure momentum into the market today. The PCE index grew 2.4% year over year in January, and that's actually a decline from last month's 2.6% report. So getting better right here. And in addition, Fed Jerome Powell here, this came in at 2.8% down from 2.9% the actual month prior. With this being said, talking about when rate cuts will be coming, this increases the probability for a June rate cut, as March, I think right now that kind of probability is out of the window. But if we get back to PLTR, like I said, we have the combination of good inflationary data. This is great for the actual market indexes. You can see up here, NASDAQ up about 1%, S&P 500 up about 0.5%. You have, in addition, one of the major AI drivers in the market, NVIDIA, still trading fairly healthy here, 791. And you have, of course, the rumor of the S&P 500 inclusion announcement. Now, there's going to be a lot of interesting trading that will happen with PLTR, because if we toggle over here to the options, you can see there's actually an immense amount of call volume at the 26 and the $26.5 strike price, both about 20,000 sitting here on average in terms of implied volatility. Things that we do need to see for PLTR is if we possibly see this breakout beyond the 25, setting a new year-to-date high, the question is, where will PLTR go? This could be possibly testing the 30s within the next few weeks, or if we do, for some reason, have the S&P 500 inclusion announcement, we could be testing that, I think, a lot sooner than expected. Now, one thing that is interesting about PLTR that I have seen, and we see this across the board, is as PLTR is continuing to increase in price, we see institutional buyers that are continuing to purchase the stock, except we see more analysts that are starting to put on a sell rating. One of the major reasons that we see the sell rating that is starting to come up above, over and beyond from the actual Wall Street analysts is mostly due to its valuation and the technical critical pivot point of its valuation that is continuing to grow. Now, this is one of the biggest criticisms for Palantir is its valuation. Is Palantir just in its infancy and its need to grow into its actual valuation as it matures? S&P 500 is a great reason for maturing into the company. Or is Palantir just trading at a high premium price right now? And it is. But what the valuation, in my opinion, is just a future gauge of what upcoming earnings reports are expected to be. If a lot of the retail and institutional investors are expecting a bullish earnings return, then this is expecting growth. This is expecting prosperity within PLTR. And they are at the time willing to pay a premium price. Hence the valuation goes up, and vice versa if this was in a bearish case scenario. PLTR, like I said, has been on the top of the headlines and has already increased in price a tremendous amount. We have a strong economic buying momentum, and with inflationary data that appears to be cooling, that is all matching and setting up great scenarios for PLTR. So we'll be keeping a close eye on the stock and trying to understand where future highs could go. And if we lead here talking about this, Motley Fool comes out with an article talking about 2 artificial stocks that could go parabolic on the short term. I do agree with that, especially, like I said, with a lot of the trendiness, hype, the AI demand, and with the current global economic situations that we have and national economic situations regarding the actual cooling of inflation a little bit. Palantir, I think, could have an opportunity to have a little bit of an exponential growth period. Now, of course, this is all speculation right here, but even after this crazy fourth quarter earnings that really put PLTR into this next leg into the mid-20s here, and now finding consolidation in this mid-20s areas is great, as Palantir has not had a ton of historical price trading within the 20s and not especially in recent history. So the fact that Palantir is building a foundational basis here is really good when times do get tougher, when the market does get challenged, when we see things like sell-offs and things like that and corrections and pullbacks within the market. Palantir will be able to establish and utilize these new support lines as foundational lines to help stay within these price targets. Other than that, what we are looking at in the market, I want to look more into it. Like I said in the last video I mentioned this, is specifically looking at Surf Air. Now, Palantir took a big stake in actual Surf Air Mobility. This is a newer stock that's on my list. I told you guys I was going to put on the research list. I will be coming out on a video with that. I just need to do some more analysis. I need to take the time. I haven't had the time recently to do some analysis on that stock and see what it's all about, because that could be another potential opportunity. If Palantir is getting their hands wet with this new type of stock, getting their feet wet here, getting their hands dirty, then in my opinion, Palantir is doing well. They probably have a pretty good basis on the different types of companies that they are taking a look at themselves. That's all I have for you guys. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. We'll come out with a report. What do you guys think is going to happen? Where do you think Palantir is going to go? And do you think possibly there'll be the S&P 500 inclusion announcement? Peace out. Take care, and I'll catch you guys later.